Hi, everyone. We are now in the meeting and the meeting is being recorded. Welcome. This is the first introduction to the Northwest Center for Assistive Technology Training, also known as the CATT Northwest program. My name is Dr. Ting Su, and I'm the new coordinator of this brand new program. And co-hosting this info session with me today is Christina Bader, who is in our HR department at the Washington State School for the Blind. So thank you everybody for coming to this info session. I am super duper excited to be introducing the program, giving everybody an overview about it. And for those of you who are interested in applying for one of the two AT trainer positions, we'll just be sharing a little bit of information, and there will be time at the end for people to ask questions as you like. Do feel free to put in questions as they come to mind throughout the presentation. I'll just kind of wait until the end to answer the questions, okay? And as mentioned, this info session is being recorded right now. It's going to be posted to our CATT website, and the link will be put into the chat in just a minute. And the slide deck will also be posted to the website, as well as a Q&A document. So everything that we'll be covering today will be posted later for review. And if anybody you know wasn't able to make it today, you can also refer them to the website. All right. Okay, with that, let's jump right in, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. So as mentioned, this is the Northwest Center for Assistive Technology Training, and it is based out of the Washington State School for the Blind, or WSSB. I am the coordinator of the program and just building the team. And kind of first things first, my email for contact is ting.siu@wssb.wa.gov. So for anyone who wants to send me a message later on, that's no problem. You can use this email. And for any other Twitter birds out there, you can also find me on Twitter at TVI_Ting. Okay, so what is going on with this program and where did it come from? Well, we're so lucky that it's funded by the American Printing House for the Blind, APH, as well as the Alabama Institute for the Deaf and Blind. So this is a collaborative effort. It's a federally funded program. And the mission of the CATT program is to provide assistive technology training to teachers of blind and low vision students, otherwise known as TVIs, utilizing a train the trainer model, while also providing training for students and families. So yes, that's a pretty broad and big comprehensive mission. And this will be broken down a little bit in this presentation, but also the finer details of how we're going to accomplish this mission will be a collaborative process with the team. So under the CATT program, there will be assistive technology devices provided by APH, with training provided by WSSB-employed trainers. So it's an interesting partnership where our CATT Northwest program, we're all considered part of WSSB, employed by WSSB. However, the resources for technology and the devices are all provided by APH. So we're covering the Northwestern United States and Pacific Rim. That's our Northwest region. So on this slide, there's a big map of the United States. In the southwest corner of the map, there's, of course, Alaska and Hawaii, which we all know geographically don't actually exist there, right? And then on the bottom right corner of the map, there's little territories, including Puerto Rico, US Virgin Islands, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, and American Samoa. So the blue region indicates the Northwest CATT program region, and this includes Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Alaska, Hawaii, and then Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, and American Samoa. As of this moment, there's also a Southeast CATT program, so that's covering the southeastern region of the United States, and there's also a Southwest CATT program, so that's covering obviously the southwestern part of the US. So as you can see, it's a pretty broad coverage area, and this program will be responsible for disseminating training and resources to our region specifically, but also in collaboration with the other CATT programs to develop nationally available resources as well. So a few things about the CATT Northwest program that's really kind of, again, up to revision with the team. But so far, this is my draftiest of draft visions for the program. I see it involving research endeavors, training, and also community. So, thinking about what does research mean, what does training mean, and what does community mean, these will all be in support of the broader CATT Northwest goal, with the overarching goal being that our job is to promote blind and low vision students' interdependent and proficient use of technology. And you'll see that in the title, after the word goal, there's a little asterisk. And this is to denote that this, again, is the draftiest of draft goals. And this is a goal that I see being updated and revised with the team as we put our collective visions together, really consider our collective philosophies and what we want to accomplish, but also with feedback from stakeholders in our region or community members in our region. So this goal is meant to be pretty broad at this moment. And I just wanted to highlight the word interdependent in this goal because it really underscores and honors the fact that none of us are truly independent, but really it's figuring out what are those tools, resources, and strategies available so that students can be as independent as they like and as independent as they are able to be across certain tasks. So how do we accomplish this goal? Well, I've got 3 draft objectives here. To see what you guys think. Objective number 1 is to improve community infrastructure for accessible information and technology. So one of the big activities of our CATT Northwest program is to do a lot of that community outreach stuff and look at how can we promote and advocate for better systemic supports for access to information for our students, and really troubleshoot those kind of infrastructure pieces. Objective number 2 is the big one, is to train educators, families, and also community partners on critical technologies, universal design, and accessible media and pedagogy. So this is a big piece of the CATT program overall, is to provide this much needed training element. So, APH has got the devices, we've got funding for devices, but now we're filling in that gap in the training element that's been long missing, I think. And so I want to emphasize that the CATT program is really, truly a train the trainer model. Yes, there might be some kind of peripheral student side to our services, but really our job here is to train the teachers of blind and low vision students, train and support the related service providers, classroom teachers potentially, administrators. It might be working with families to educate them on how to advocate for their students' technology use. It might be working with those, identifying and working with those community partners, such as librarians or makerspace people, on how to take collective action to better support students' use of technology. So this training piece is really exciting to me because we have the opportunity to train many different levels of community members in terms of promoting student interdependent and proficient use of technology. And then finally, so far, we have objective number 3, which is to create self-sustaining communities of practice who have a shared interest in AT. And I think this is another really great opportunity for the program, especially because it spans such a large region. We're here to facilitate more local and more kind of micro and regionally local-based communities where we want to train up the people in local areas so that there's also trainers that are in local areas. It might look like hiring and reaching out to different consultants who might be able to do more intensive, like weekly training is needed. And I think what these communities of practice look like, it's going to be very customized to what the needs of each community within the region are. So remembering that in the region, there's of course very metropolitan areas, such as in Washington State. There's also going to be less populated areas, such as in Alaska or in Guam, or in Northern Mariana Island, where there's only one TVI for the whole island. So I think another exciting aspect of this program is, when we've got our team together, is figuring out how can we flex and adapt what these communities of practice look like for the different partners that we have in the region. Okay, so this slide, there's got 8 little squares with only 2 of the squares filled, and this is the CATT Northwest team that I imagine. So the first square is me, Dr. Ting Su. I am a teacher of blind and low vision students, also a certified orientation and mobility specialist. And I'm really excited to showcase the first person to the team, the first addition to the team, Sam Fields, who's going to be admin assistant, kind of parentheses operations manager. She will be a critical part of our team and getting our operations running. And then we've got 2 squares with some multicolored question marks. And these are placeholders for the 2 AT trainer positions that I'm hoping to fill. One AT trainer position, really more so focused on low vision technology and workflows, and the other AT trainer position more so focused on non-visual technology and workflows. There are also 4 question mark placeholders for various consultants. Will it be 4? We don't know. Will it be more or will it be less? That remains to be determined. But know that these consultant positions are another opportunity to kind of flex and add that expertise to the team as needed. It's, also going to be very possible that, in another layer of the team, there might be many, many more squares. Once we have local trainers identified, there might be local facilitators who might be co-hosting, what I like to think of as techie TVI meetups. So who knows? I think really this is just the very beginning with a lot more opportunity as we envision what this work is really going to look like and how it's going to be carried out. Okay, so a little bit more about the AT positions. We'll segue to that now. When I think about the tech trainer roles and how these roles are going to develop, I think of it in 3 categories: strategy, education, and facilitation. So in the tech trainer roles for strategy, we're going to need to work together to proactively problem solve any potential training challenges, efficiently troubleshoot any kind of logistical things when it comes to arranging trainings and workshops and travel, but also having an attention to detail. I think this is going to be a very important aspect of the tech trainer role, is to be able to kind of plan for and fill in those details to ensure trainings go as seamlessly as possible. The second component of the tech trainer role is education, of course. That's really kind of in the position title itself, is trainer. And so under the education role, the tech trainers will provide direct service as well as technical assistance to anybody in the region who might be needing it or request it. The tech trainers will also be advocates for information accessibility. So this is that community education piece, and helping to, amplify and raise up the voices that need to be heard a little bit better in a community, and really help be a strong ally to blind and low vision communities across the region. And then in the third component of the role is facilitation. So the tech trainers will need to communicate effectively. We'll have to have strong ideas about community engagement, and also have an understanding of how to build and develop and maintain, sustain relationships with all of our partners across the region. Okay, now we're moving on to tech trainer responsibilities. Okay, so I went back and I looked at the position descriptions, and I thought the responsibilities fell into 5 potential buckets. So bucket number 1 is research. So the tech trainers, and together with all of us as a team, we will be identifying what the training needs of all the various communities across the region. What are those community needs and how do they differ in different areas of the region? What are the efficient workflows for students from birth to 22 that we need to be aware of and specifically train to? What are the appropriate technologies that we need to train on? Yes, of course, our work is driven by the APH devices, but it's also how do we coach and mentor teachers to be really good decision makers to understand which device is the most appropriate and when a device might not be the most appropriate and they need to shop elsewhere. And of course, the final aspect of the research is identifying those personal goals for professional development. So, as you all know here, technology moves and changes pretty quickly. So it's also important that as much as we are identified as being a trainer role, we also equally identify ourselves as learners and how we can maintain our own professional development in this work. In that second bucket of tech trainer responsibilities is educate. So our responsibilities will be to educate TVIs and school staff. It might be educating community members and of course, educating families. And again, this is not an exclusive list at all. This is just the beginning. Okay, the third bucket of responsibilities is to collaborate. So we will be collaborating with our CATT partners in other regions. We'll be collaborating with people from APH. We'll also be collaborating with those community organizations that might include those schools, those libraries, those makerspaces, potentially universities, potentially US military bases in some of those US territories. Again, the world, the sky's the limit here in terms of who we can collaborate with. The fourth bucket of responsibilities is disseminate. So we need to disseminate information as a big part of our job. We're going to do that through in-person trainings, but also by developing online resources, offering technical assistance in a few different flavors, and also disseminating information through social media and thinking about how to get creative in developing those informal communities of practice. So what are these pop-up spaces that we might disseminate information through? And then finally, the fifth bucket of responsibilities is travel with an exclamation point. This is a huge aspect of the AT trainer roles and also of the CAP program. Our coverage area, as you saw, is pretty wide and broad. It spans the Northwestern United States, Alaska, and also the Pacific Rim, which includes Hawaii, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, and American Samoa. One of my personal goals, as a side note, I hope that in 1 year's time, I could tell you exactly where all of these places are on a map, perhaps even down to the latitude and longitude. But right now, that Pacific Rim, I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to fill in some serious training gaps there. And that's also something really exciting that I hope to do together with the team. Okay, now as we're talking through these responsibilities, and I know that there are two different AT trainer positions with slightly different position descriptions. Let's talk a little bit about what is the difference between the two AT trainer positions. Basically, the one primary and main difference between the two positions is that for the non-visual tech AT trainer position, this position will require the person to have a professional level of Braille, screen reader, and tactile media interpretation skills. So I want to recognize that some people, including myself, I really put myself more in that camp of supporting the low vision tech and workflows. Yes, I know Braille. Yes, I can teach Braille. But do I read Braille at a professional level? No, I don't. Yes, I know screen readers. I can teach a screen reader. But would I say I'm a professional level screen reader user who can listen at, 900 words per minute and really know the ins and outs of a screen reader as a daily user? No. So this really is that difference between the non-visual tech position and the low vision tech, or these different areas of expertise. The reason why I wanted to have at least one position with this level of professional expertise is that, the CATT AT trainers, we're going to be out. And the trainers must also kind of exemplify what's possible with technology and really promote positive models for some teachers and also some students who have never met somebody with professional level skills in these areas, okay? Both positions will require knowledge of access and assistive technology and also related workflows for visual, auditory, and tactile engagement with information. So I wanted to bring this up because it's not really a hard line that divides the expertise between the non-visual and low vision tech. You know, will the person who's in the quote unquote low vision tech position also have to know about technology for auditory and tactile engagement with information? Yes, and vice versa. The person who's hired for the non-visual tech AT position should also know about workflows for low vision access, as well as auditory and tactile. So it's a pretty holistic approach to technology training with just that one difference with the competency in the non-visual use of technology, okay? All right, we've also got a few hard and fast requirements for these positions. So these are also listed in the position descriptions, but I'll just go through it now so that everybody's clear. Both positions will require somebody to have 2 to 3 years of technology training experience with blind and low vision individuals. And this could be technology training experience with school age or adults. However, you know, whatever that training experience looks like, the tech trainers will be required to know about assistive technology evaluation, instruction, and support in the K-12 settings with blind and low vision students. So some knowledge of that is going to be definitely important because we'll be working in the K-12 settings and really needing to understand how technology works, functions, and ultimately gets adopted in K-12 settings. The tech trainers should also be self-driven and self-motivated and be able to multitask multiple deadlines. So both positions are fully remote, which means that you are accountable for getting work done in your remote position, wherever you happen to be working. I'm not really one to micromanage. I'm not going to micromanage. So I'm really going to lean on those tech trainers to be able to work in partnership and really work with each other as colleagues who see eye to eye more than like a top-down approach to this work. The tech trainers need to also have excellent collaborative and interpersonal skills because we will be working with many different types of people in diverse communities. They will need to have strong communication, organizational, and detail-oriented skills. Also have the ability to serve diverse populations under occasionally stressful situations while maintaining a calm, professional, and positive demeanor. I kind of joked when I was interviewing Sam that, you know, if we happen to be stranded in Guam for 2 weeks or stranded in Alaska because there's a snowstorm, you know, she's going to be our lifeline. And I want you guys to remember that this potentially could happen. So, you know, I also need people on the team where, hey, we're going to be okay anywhere and we're going to make the best of it and we're going to make it a positive experience for everybody involved. So just keep that in the back of your mind too. The next requirement is for the people to have proficient keyboarding and computing skills, including productivity in cloud-based apps. So, you know, while of course you need to have the access and assistive technology for blind and low vision students, there's also going to be very high expectation and high level of just your computing skills. And finally, because we are ultimately representatives in the field, we need to model anti-ableist and anti-racist practices in every aspect of our work. Okay, of course, there's always fine print. So here's some of the fine print. And this is also why Christina is so lovely to co-host this week with me because she's got her HR hat on. So all personnel must be able to pass a federal criminal history background check. The work schedule is 185 teacher workdays. However, the workdays will be distributed all year round. So it's not necessarily on that traditional academic school year calendar, okay? All personnel will also be part of the Washington State Public Employee Union, specifically the Washington Public Employees Association, and also the state retirement system, which is great. Of course, it comes with full benefits, including medical, dental, and life insurance, and there will be support for setting up your home office computer and related software. So the program will be providing all that for people who join the team. And let's see, just doing a little time check here. This is great. This actually brings us to the last slide. I wanted to thank all of you for attending today. I am so appreciative of all of your interest in the program. Thankful that there are people who are interested in applying. I have very high expectations for the people who will be joining this team. I also have very high expectations for people who will be just supporting the CATT program as a whole and being part of it in any way that their expertise and time allows. So we do have 15 minutes for questions, but before we go into questions, I wanted to let you know that in case you need the links again, the Tech Trainer applications are on the WSSB website. You'll go to the main website, you'll click services, and then you'll find the link for CATT. And the closing date for applications is going to be Monday, April 17th. So that gives the rest of this week and all of next week to get those applications finalized and submitted. And again, I'm Dr. Ting Su, and you can email me at ting.su@wssb.wa.gov. You could also reach me on Twitter at TVI_Ting. And if you have a more HR related question that I likely won't be able to answer, your best contact is going to be Christina Bader. And she is Christina spelled with a Kristina .Bader, BADER at wssb.wa.gov. And with that, I'm going to stop my share and dive into some of those questions. And I think, Christina, I'm going to rely on your help to convey some of the questions.
You bet. So the first question I'm seeing is what portion will be travel versus staying in the home office?
Yes, that is a great question, and it's something that will be figured out as we go along. I'm sorry that I don't have hard and fast answers, but the nature of the job is that we will have to be pretty flexible and responsive to the needs of the people in our region. I imagine that there will probably be more travel in August and September at the beginning of the school year. There's probably going to be travel depending on when conferences are scheduled. So I know some conferences in the region happen in October. There's also others that happen in March. And there's a lot of opportunity to go to conferences outside of the region too. We'll definitely go to Louisville every October for the annual meeting and go out for technical assistance. We'll figure out what those needs are and how much travel we'll take on personally versus, if it's something like teachers, let's say in Guam, need really kind of intensive screen reader training, and they might almost need like weekly screen reader training. That's something that we'd more likely contract out than take on ourselves. So there's a lot of different ways to be involved in the CATT program, depending on your interest and also the availability. For the tech trainers, though, I personally am traveling about once a month to WSSB. I imagine that some months might be 1 to 3 trips. Some months might be 0. So that's going to depend, and we'll figure it out together.
Then there's a lot of questions about like the estimated hiring timeline, when interviews are going to take place.
Yes, so we've got the close date of April 17th. I would imagine that by the end of April, people who will be invited for round 1 interviews will be notified. So the round 1 interviews will involve submitting some type of training artifact, and people will have more information, and it'll be a Zoom interview. And then a smaller number of people will be invited for a round 2 in-person interview at WSSB. So I imagine the round 2 in-person interviews would probably happen in May. So I'm really hoping that we'll have the team hired by the end of May. I do want to be kind of very mindful about the having the right fit for the team. So it's got to be a right fit for us, but it's also got to be a right fit for you.
Okay, then there's a question about what kind of computer skills are required? Is it navigation, keyboards, keyboard commands, etc.?
As far as just regular computing to do the job, a very high level. So because the work is all remote, we are going to be doing a significant amount of work on the computer, using productivity apps, inventory apps, database management apps, and then of course, understanding all the different potential workflows that might be used in K-12 systems. I will say that all of the productivity, database, and inventory programs that we will be using for the program are fully accessible with a screen reader. So that piece of accessibility should not be a problem.
Okay, and then there's a question in the job listing. It says that positions are for the 2023-2024 year. Is the position permanent or will it be for this year?
Ooh, that is a great question with, of course, an unclear answer. So as it is like for my position, actually, it's a 12-month probationary period. So this first year is considered probationary, and that includes myself as well. But the program is actually federally funded through congressional appropriations. So this is like a hard line in the congressional budget. So this program will be funded kind of ongoing unless there's some sort of disaster that happens in Congress.
The next question is really similar. Are we capped at 185 work days a year?
Okay, so I might throw this one back to you, Christina, but from my understanding, if there is a need for overtime days, that is available. But Christina, if you want to say more.
Yeah, it's basically capped at the 185, but yes, you're correct on the overtime.
Okay, great, thank you.
The next question, is it probationary for current state employees? Everybody does start out in a probationary window. That is correct. Let's see, it looks like a couple of questions on probation. So is it a multi-year position? It says, when I looked at the role, it looked like it might be only for a one-year project. I think we kind of covered that. Did you want to add anything, team?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Will you be encouraging attending conferences?
Yes, absolutely. So we will definitely prioritize attending conferences in the Northwest region, in our CATT region. We'll also be attending other conferences outside the region kind of as the need fits. So for example, I attend the CSUN Assistive Technology Conference in California. I also attend the California Transcribers and Educators for the Blind and Visually Impaired Conference, CTE-BVI. We will be attending the APH annual meeting in Louisville. And I imagine if there's, and probably not everybody on the team will go to the same conferences, but let's say there's interest from one of the tech trainers to attend, the AFB Leadership Conference. Great, you'll be supported. I also think it'll be important for us to have some representation at the ACB convention, as well as the NFB conventions, and really connect with all the different partners and communities in our field.
Okay, just going back to the chat for a minute, says they're just trying to picture what the day-to-day looks like. Is it going to be a combination of something like instructional design with 508 accessibility compliance and meeting needs?
I would say our job is really not here to be compliance officers. Rather, we would educate those community partners on the importance of accessibility and what does compliance mean, so that they can be educated, informed about how to hire the right vendors and how the right procurement kind of strategies when they're adopting technology and implementing accessibility systems. As far as what does the workday look like? Sam, our lovely admin assistant, will be available 8:30 to 5, so during work hours. I definitely don't expect people to work nights and weekends. However, if it's a long flight that takes us to Guam, then, it will be on your I expect everybody on the team to be pretty self-sufficient in managing their time and being accountable for their own time. So there's no like ticket to punch virtually or physically to clock in or clock out. You know, I just expect people to do the work and put in the time that feels good.
Next question, is there an element of direct student training, or is this focused on training the trainer?
This truly is focused on training the trainer. We do not want to compete with the APH federal quota program. So as hopefully most of you know, the APH federal quota program provides technology directly to the students. We are a train the trainer program because we actually are not allowed to provide the devices to the students. We cannot compete with the federal quota program. What we can do is provide devices to the teachers who need to have a device oftentimes to learn the technology, to teach the technology. We might also think about how to put technology in those community spaces, especially in more under-resourced areas where the kids might not have good internet at home, but maybe everybody goes to the library after school or on a weekend. Then that's where we might need to look at, well, hey, can we get the Page Blaster or Pix Blaster embossers set up in community spaces and figure out how to infuse technology in a more systemic way.
Will the trainers have to personally pay for all travel expenses incurred?
Oh my gosh, no, not at all. So if it is travel that is required for the CATT program, it will be covered by the CATT program as part of the work expenses.
And is priority going to those who are already living in the Pacific Northwest? And I can safely answer that with my HR hat, which is no. We are really looking for the most qualified individual wherever they are. Do you want to add to that, team?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is kind of travel to and from and easily to the Pacific Northwest and Pacific Rim is going to be expected. So that's just one consideration. So I'm based in the Bay Area, which is still a pretty easy flight to the Pacific Northwest and Pacific Rim regions. You know, however, if I were to be living on the East Coast, that's a significant travel to get out to the Pacific Northwest and Pacific Rim. So that's a personal consideration.
What are the first steps for developing your team? Is it setting up service structure?
The first steps for our developed team, I think that's going to be doing a really good needs assessment to assess the training needs and assess for the resources and needed resources in the different regions across the region. Once we have a good scope of what the needs are, then we can talk about the different ways we'll begin to meet those needs.
Are you encompassing other languages into the program?
Oh, always. Always. A huge aspect of the program is looking at how we can reach those underserved pockets of every region and of every community. Absolutely, you know, bilingual skills are always very valuable, you know, or at least figuring out which consultants or contractors we need to be able to meet the needs of different people in the community, for sure. A lot of that is going to be developing the appropriate cultural responsiveness and pedagogy to serve a diverse population.
Okay, looks like the last question, unless there's more coming up in the chat here. How will assignments be arranged? Will we get assigned different projects, training events, and will we be expected to arrange our trainings ourselves?
So I think that everything will be a team decision based on the interest, availability, and expertise of the team members. I do not see this being a top-down approach where I assign people things. I think it has to be a collective decision to figure out who's going to do what. And once we figure out who's doing what, yes, there's going to be leadership expected for the trainers to be able to arrange and organize, prepare, structure the trainings. Okay, I'm just looking over, just making sure I didn't miss any.
Unless folks have more questions, I think that's everything.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you again, everybody, for coming. Maybe Christina, if you wouldn't mind putting our emails in the chat again. If anybody thinks of any other questions afterwards, feel free to reach out and email us. There's also a general CATT email on the website. So if you forget to write down our emails here, you'll also have that. And this session will be posted with captions as well as the slide deck and the Q&A to the website within the week. Okay. Thank you, everybody.